Hi, this is a yoga class lengthening the sides of the body, side, body, long, and getting the spine to move to the left and to the right. So we'll be doing poses and little drills and exercises to help coax that and get that lengthening, which is so nice for the hips and for the outer shoulders as well. Before you begin, please do bear in mind that these YouTube classes are being transferred onto my website. So soon, by about the 1st of November 2022, you will need to be a member on patreon.com/SarahByoga in order to access these short classes. So do go over to that and have a look at the details. The link is all in the class description below. Let's begin with the class. So come to hands and knees. You'll need a block, by the way. Make sure that you've got one nearby. Hands and knees, big toes touch side by side. Push your hands into the floor and lift your chin and lift your sitting bones. And as you push your hands into the floor, slowly sink your bottom down behind you. Walk your hands forward and come into child's pose. If your forehead doesn't come to the floor, get your block and put your forehead onto your block in child's pose. Now, keeping your head on the floor or the block, walk your hands a little bit closer to each other and press them down. Keep your arms really straight and strong here. Maybe even walk your hands a little bit away from you. And try and keep your bottom heavy on your heels. Now, lift your chin, look at your hands and walk them over to the right. Lift your belly in your chest, twist it a little bit to the right here, and then lengthen the chest and drape it over your thigh. And bring your forehead again, either onto the floor or onto your block. So you might need to move your block over here. Walk both of your hands away from you. Both arms straight and as strong as you can make them. And see if you can walk your right hand a little closer to the left. Now lift your head and look at your hands and walk your hands over to the other side. And again, pause here with your chest lifted. Twist the barrel of your body a little bit to the left. Then lift your chest and drape yourself over your thigh as you walk your hands forward. We're trying to get length here, particularly from the right little finger to the right hip. So nudge the right hip back a little bit and maybe even walk your right hand a little bit over to the left, as long as the elbow stays straight, so not too far over. Inhale and lift. Lift your head, look at your hands, walk your hands back to center. Now here for a moment, bend your elbows to the floor, bring your palms together. Bring your head back down to the floor as you walk your elbows away from you and bring your hands to the back of your neck. Press your arms into the side of your head and again, side, body, long. Try and get a bit more length from your elbows to your shoulders and sit a little bit more heavily onto your hips. Raise your head, bring your hands to the floor and come into downward facing dog. Walk your hands to the sides of your mat. Tuck your toes, push your hips back. And in down dog, drop both of your heels to the left. Push your right hand forward, nudge the right hip back. Keep your abs engaged. Come back to center, lift the heels. Turn your feet now so your toes are pointing to the left. Don't worry if you did the other side first, just make sure you do both sides. Pick up both of your heels. And come into plank. We'll warm up a little bit more here. Get the abdominal muscles engaged. Really push your hands into the floor. Bring both of your knees down. Move your body weight forward here. Press your shoulders away from your ears. Come part way down. 3, 2, so a variation of Chaturanga. 1, come all the way down. Point your feet. Come up into Cobra. Now come all the way down and move your arms ahead of you. So you're in Urdhva Hastasana, arms with the little fingers on the floor. From here, walk your feet a little bit closer. Squeeze your knees and pick up your legs. Now look at your hands again and bring your hands together. Keep them on the floor if this is too hard, or possibly pick the hands up. 3, push your hands forward away from your head. 2, and 1. Come back to downward facing dog. Bring your hands by the sides of your ribs, tuck your toes and push back. That was hard. So if you were struggling there, don't worry. Now bend your knees, look forwards in between your hands and walk your feet to the top of your mat. Bend your knees, swoop your arms forward, come all the way up to standing. Keep your arms overhead and step your feet together. Grab your left wrist, inhale and lift, and as you exhale, lean over towards your right. Keep your abs engaged and pull this arm as long as you can, and try and relax the left hip down, but press in the left ribs. Look up underneath that left arm and maybe you can bring it back a little bit behind you. Inhale and come up. Release the wrist. Grab the right one. Inhale and lift. And go the other way. Slowly coming into this Indulasana variation. Maybe straighten that top arm a little bit more. Really try and get that straight elbow and turn your head. And maybe bring the arm back a little bit. Inhale, come up. Release your hands and bring your hands down by your sides. Now, this is where the block comes in. Come into a high kneeling position, and I strongly recommend that you kneel either onto your folded mat for some cushioning under the knees, or get a blanket so that your knees have something nice to rest on. Then, reach your right leg out to the side. Try and push the little toe edge down as much as your ankle lets you. And then from the center of this foot to the knee, pretty much a straight line. And then get your block. I recommend the second height. Place it here and place your palm onto the block. Now when you do this, push your left hip forwards as much as you can. And then press in the top ribs, the right ribs. Reach your right arm up. Really get lots of length here. And then bring your arm over at about 45 degrees, what feels like 45 degrees. You have the same angle as that straight right leg, and push your hips forward. Reach, reach, reach. That's it. And keep this bottom straight arm nice and strong. And push this bottom shoulder towards your right foot. The left shoulder moves towards that right foot. 3, maybe bring the top arm back a bit. 2, and 1. Now bring your right hand down onto your hip and come up. I like to bend the elbow here and spring up. Okay, change sides. So block now on the right hand side. Lengthen your left leg. Try and bring the little toe edge down. I'm not, because I've still got a bit of a twisted ankle ligament thing here. So mine's up, but I want you to press yours down as much as you can. And then again, pretty much a straight line. Bring your right hand onto your block. Reach the left arm up, turn your palm over to the right, and then bring your arm over. Reach with the fingertips, try and get more distance between the fingertips of this straight top arm and the little toe edge of your left foot. Push your hips forwards to the point where you feel like you're pretty much in a straight plane. 3, as much as possible anyway. 2, and 1. Bring your hand onto your hip, come up, bring your knees together and come into downward facing dog. And in down dog, before you do, can you put the block please on the top right hand corner of your mat? Downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little bit closer to each other, so you could put one of your feet inside your feet. Raise your right leg behind you, squeeze the left buttock in, and step your right foot forward in between your hands. Bring your back heel down, the heel down. I'm going to come into warrior 2 here. Pick up the left arm, bring the arm forward and up overhead just so we get a little bit more shoulder mobility work. And come into your Virabhadrasana 2. Look at the right knee, check it's pointing straight ahead underneath your right arm. And straighten your back leg. Put your left hand on your left hip. Reach down with your right hand to get your block and move it back to behind the heel. Place your right palm on the leg. Make sure you've got space. So bring the block maybe a little bit more to the right so you don't force your knee to the left. Turn the barrel of your body over to the left. Reach your left arm up and then bring it over your head, just like you've been doing. Keep pressing your right leg in towards your right arm so the knee points straight ahead. Good. Then from here, look down at your right foot, pick up your back heel, bring your left hand to the floor, move your block over to the left and come into downward facing dog. Again, make sure your feet have enough space in between them. You just want to make sure that the positioning of the back foot in Warrior Two is nice. Raise your left leg up and back so you don't lose your balance. As you exhale, step that left foot forward between your hands. Bring your back heel down. Pick up your right hand, move it forwards. Bring it up overhead. Get that shoulder movement and come into your Warrior Two. Remember, you can shorten the stance to make this pose a little easier if you need to. Bring that back foot closer to the front foot. And again, this leg is in line with this arm. Coming to parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Put your left hand on your block. You can use the highest setting or the middle setting. I recommend the high. Turn your back palm up, your right palm up, and again, rainbow it over your head. Look up here, bring the arm back a bit more. And again, that bottom leg, keep pressing it into the left arm. 3, 2, and 1. Reach a little bit more. Then look down, pick up your back heel, bring your right hand down and step back to downward facing dog. Now bring both of your knees to the floor. Sit your bottom onto your heels and come back into child's pose. Lift your head, walk your hands back towards your knees, come up and sit your bottom down onto the mat. Just a couple of poses to decompress the hips a bit here. Bring your elbows down, come all the way down and completely cross your right leg over your left. Pick up your feet, put your left hand on your first knee, your right hand on the second, and gently draw your knees in towards the center of your chest. Twizzle your ankles a couple of times in one direction and then the other, and let your feet be soft. So this isn't a complete yoga class by any means, but I hope that it's helped you to understand that lengthening of the side body that you need in a very common pose, side angle pose. Uncross your legs, cross them the other way, left leg on top, and not just side angle pose. You need that length in a lot of yoga poses and a lot of things that we need to do in life. And we want to keep that suppleness and that length, not only in the shoulder and the hip, but also the ability of the spine to bend to the left and the right. Now release your hands. Bring the backs of your hands to the floor, uncross your left leg, widen your feet to the edges of your mat, and drop both of your knees to the right. Soften your shoulders. Then pick up your knees and drop them to the left. Then pick up your knees and come into bridge pose. Bring your feet a little closer in towards you. Toes point straight ahead, pick up your bottom, interlace your fingers. Bring your upper arms towards each other. Press your hands down to lift your bridge. Push your tailbone towards your knees and your knees towards each other. Let that front body open, lengthen. And breathe as deeply and calmly as you can. As you exhale, release your hands and slowly lower your bridge and come into Shavasana. Now remember, in Shavasana here, you can press pause and stay a little longer, or stay here for just about 1 minute with me. Really soften. Rest your body. Rest your mind. Now bend your knees 1 leg at a time. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor. And roll over onto your right side and rest your head in your upper arm. Press your left hand down and then your right hand to bring yourself up to sit. Sit well. Place yourself carefully. Bring your hands into your heart. Lower your chin so it touches your fingertips. And release your hands and bring your palms to your legs. Lift your chin. Open your eyes. Namaste. Well done. And remember, if you want access to all of these classes over the next few weeks, months and years, go to Patreon and become a basic member. That's £2.50 a month, and you'll get access to all of these 200 plus classes. Take care.